Hello, dear friends. Here we are, 6 days away. I cannot believe it either. We're coming close to the 12th U.S. Spiritist Symposium, and I'm counting the seconds and the minutes. Why? Why so much excitement? When the good comes to earth, it is so good. And this is good. And as Emmanuel said through Chico Xavier, all the works of the good on earth, no matter what label, what name, if it's good, it comes from God. No doubt the Spiritist Symposium comes from God. It has been 12 years. This is the 12th U.S. Spiritist Symposium. And we're coming to Washington, D.C. It's the first time that the Promised Consoler has a national unity coming together to work, to serve, to learn in these blessed lands of the United States of America, in the capital, Washington, D.C. Can you believe it? I cannot believe it. It's a dream come true. The other day, talking about the messages between Salim Haddad, who lived in North Carolina and founded the first Spiritist Center together with Chico Xavier, and his letters. Between the two of them, Chico Xavier discloses his dream to see Spiritism spread out in the United States. He made all the efforts to make this happen. And after decades, here we come, 2018, and finally, I think there is a whole realm cheering for this day, for the therapeutics that are going to happen in two realms. It's the enlightening answers for our daily questions, answering about peacemaking skills, human equality, sexuality, spiritist education for children and youth. We're going to talk about family planning. We're going to talk about the loss of loved ones, how we deal with it. So many topics of all the questions we have at hand. But we're not alone. Tonight we are here to discuss specifically of a part of the symposium that is most special. I think it's one of the most critical ones. How the symposium can be of help, a helping hand to parents around the world, because you're going to be watching through the webcast, but especially to the United States of America. We have a specific program dedicated to children and youth. In previous nights, you had here friends like Carol Correa and Bernadette Liao and Dulce's story with Leo and her daughter Emily, talking about the youth program, the children's program. But today, we bring to you two friends. One of them is one of the coordinators of this effort, our dear friend, Claudia Nunes. She is here with us and she's going to tell us a little bit about it. Hello, Claudia, how are you?
Hi, sweetheart. How you doing?
It's wonderful to see you again. We saw you today in a beautiful workshop that you and Leo gave in DC, in our center there. And people who are watching us can watch the talk in the Facebook of Cardiac Radio, soon in the YouTube channel as well. But Claudia, you talked about honoring parents there. And now we are
Oh,
here with
yes.
you, and you are coordinating the youth works specifically, right? You're leading the sessions for the whole day for the youth. You want to share with the audience the plans about it so they have an idea of what goes on in that regard, please.
So I've seen that this week you've covered a lot of the questions. Can you hear me well?
Yes. There's a background
Okay.
noise somewhat. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I'm asking Lee to turn down his cell phone because he's watching to see how it works.
Thank
He's
you.
on learning mode.
Thank you.
And so we are also going to be talking to the children about questions. We're going to talk about the 3 Ps: the pain, prayer, and progress.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about different phases of life that are repeated in a cycle and how you can remedy, or how do I say that, less intense the burden through the suffering times, and then how to understand that he's done progress towards that. I normally take care more of the teens, so I can go into a little bit more in depth of those details. And then with the little children, we do a program that goes along the same ways, but of course on a much more ludic version of them, right? We'll talk more material stuff that they can relate on their day-to-day basis.
And when you say you're gonna talk, it's gonna be through activities, very dynamic, educational, pedagogical
Oh,
ways, right?
for an hour we have different things going on. We have, we'll talk, we'll debate, we'll create some stuff from scratch. I don't want to give a lot information out because I know our teens are watching. So, and I will lose a lot of the element of surprise. Basically, what we do is we use their own emotional intelligence to build solutions to problems on their day-to-day lives in order to learn from each other techniques that some of them may have better than others, and then they'll share the experience, and that will basically just enlighten the whole group as they grow throughout the day.
That's exciting, so exciting. You
Yes, it
know, Claudia,
is.
you have been working as a Spiritist educator for quite a while, and I do too. And I remember when I was a teenager, going through the whole thing since my mother's belly to the whole steps and becoming a teenager at 14 and volunteering to become a spiritist educator and being assistant first and then at 17 coordinating the works at a spiritist organization in Brazil with lots of kids. So we have also here with us a friend of yours and he's a friend of ours,
Yeah.
and let me bring him here as well. Yes, he is
He's
here
also a
with us.
children educator.
There you go, Eduardo Haddad. How are you, Eduardo? Thank you for joining us.
Hey, Vanessa, very, very happy to be here. It's a pleasure, an honor to be here with you and Claudia, both very good friends, old friends from the Spiritist movement here in the US. It's a blessing to be here with you tonight.
Thank you. When you know, Eduardo, you are a spiritist educator, your wife is a spiritist educator, and you told me you have four children. They are already in their teen years, different age groups, and blessed enough you can deliver the good news to every parent who is watching us.
Very
All of
good.
them are spiritists and they are truly engaged. Please tell us about it because some people don't believe it's possible. And if when I tell them that I went through the pathway and it works, you're like, but it's maybe just you, Vanessa. I say, no, 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 no. And you can deliver the case. Please do it.
Well, thank you. We are all biased to talk about our kids, but it's a pleasure to share, a little bit of our journey in trying to educate our kids within the Spiritist philosophy, science and religion. Again, we've been blessed to have met the Spiritist knowledge very early in our lives. And my wife, when we met, she was not a Spiritist, actually. So she was Catholic, as many of us were in previous lives. And but she was curious enough about the different ways of looking at life, and I think it helped that she embraced Spiritism. I know it's not a requirement, but it helps when you have the other, member of your family also, sharing the same thoughts, the same beliefs. So with that background, very early on, we brought all of our 4 kids into the Spiritist movement. When we moved to the US, our daughter, who is now 21, she was very little. She was 4. So one challenge that we had was to find a spirit center first of all, and to find one that had education for children, right? That had youth education. And in the beginning, there wasn't. It was a very small group in Berkeley, California. And what we did is we would bring our daughter with us during the Sunday meetings. And to this day, I thank our group deeply for being patient with us because we were carrying Gabriella around, and sometimes she was crying, and it was hard. But they were all very supportive, and that was the beginning of a work that we left in California at that point. So today, it's become the Non Solar Spirit Society in California. So that was many years ago. And through that work, again, our 4 kids grew up in Spiritism. It's been a blessing. It's allowed us to develop a language that a common ground that allows us to help them understand who they are as immortal spirits. Right? Sometimes it's difficult to explain this to kids who are not in Spiritism, but they were lucky enough to be, and as they grew into their teenage years, and they experience what every teenager experiences, the conflict, right, of the old self clashing with all the things that they learned from us as parents and from the Spiritist teachers, and understanding that all of that was part of what they brought with them into this life, help them deal with all of the conflict and to grow past that. So again, we feel very lucky that we had Spiritism at our side up to this day. So our 4 kids, 21, 18, 15, and 12, they remain Spiritists. They are part of the youth education in our center here in Houston, and we are very grateful for that.
Wow. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you to you and to your wife for being so diligent. And I don't say this in this regard to the parents because parenthood is not easy, but we need this example. Thank you so much for you giving hope, spreading hope to the parents who are here. I know, for example, Claudia, as an educator, Claudia, you have been in so many ways. You have seen um, parents struggling to bring their children and to succeeding in that regard. And as Eduardo said, on us, the educators, the people at the Spiritist Center, we needed to be supportive and to give them like a helping hand because things shall pass. And it's also on us, the Spiritist family, to do it, right? Would you like to share any thought in that regard, Claudia, since you have a large experience on it?
Yeah, I mean, not only my experience, we train a lot of teachers, so we face everyday adversities. And one of the things that talk about a lot in our Pants of the New Era is if we, the parents and the teachers, are not the one teaching our kids the right path, the right challenges, somebody is, because somebody is. And you have to have impactful figures, people that will imprint on the children, and that they can remember throughout their lives, and that they know that they stepped out of their shoes and they stepped out of their path to go help them at a situation, or things of that matter, that they see that somebody took the time that is not their parents because they're supposed to do it, so it's somebody else. And that just sprouts out And it's not only in Spiritism, that teachers in general imprint different ways because of their affinity. And if you can add on that good behavior, good examples, people that are trying, people that are humble enough to say, you know what, I'm sorry, I was the one that did something wrong, let's fix this, so you can make amends. And people that will be to a step more, which is not only to teach the children, but also to become friends with their parents, to teach the children on an extra level of depth, which is helping with the synchrony of the family and the synergy of how it works. And that brings about miracles that I can't even begin to explain. Children that left home are back at home because they realized how much they were doing wrong. Children that got off their drugs and just, were able and were founded, grounded enough to say, you know what, I don't want it, and went home and told their parents. So, you know what, this is what happened today. And the parent first flips out, because we all do, right? But then in the end, he realized that the kid was strong enough to make the right decision because it had enough tools to make that choice. Sometimes the children don't make the right choice because they don't even know there is one. And that's so sad.
Exactly. It is sad, but as you're saying, we need to do our part as educators as well. Sometimes I talk to our educators here. When we see things that are happening, we need to give a helping hand to the parents. We cannot cross our
Absolutely.
hands saying,
No.
oh, this is not on us. No, we take responsibility as well because these are children of God that they belong to our family circle in so many ways and form. We need to care and to care. Like, if you watch the Care Bears, they have the Care a Lot land. So it's really about caring a lot.
And a lot more because you can't just tell the parent, oh, you know what? I think your kid is getting into drugs. You have to
No.
coach that parent. You have to prepare their parent.
Hmm.
People don't understand the amount of involvement that it takes a dedicated teacher with the parent, which is, we become the co-support team of that parent in order to co-educate that child.
Hmm.
Because in a classroom, we can't hear something and then go tell the parent about it because then you lose the trust of the child.
Yes.
But you do have to coach the parent so the parent gets to find out what's going on. And it's such a
Yeah.
delicate, intrinsic situation sometimes.
Yes. It is. That's what it is, right, Eduardo? So when we go to the symposium and we have this beautiful event happening, and it's such a symbolic feat. You've had your kids coming to previous symposia. You want to share with the audience their experience, a little bit of what you felt that they experienced? It's a shame that we have them today. Maybe we can arrange until the 20th to have one of them with us to tell a little bit about it. Well, would you
Yeah,
like to share a little bit?
of course, of course. Yeah, I mean, my kids used to come with us, of course, when we were in Florida and the symposium was in Florida. It was very easy for us to be there. Of course, there was no excuse. And they've come with us to other symposium as well. They won't come with me in this one particular because they are all, taking care of our center here in Houston. So, someone has to be here and they will be here. But hey, as you said, Vanessa, this is such a unique opportunity for kids, parents, educators to come and meet other spiritists, other educators. It's a true blessing. I have to say this. I'm a big fan of Claudia. Claudia was one of the educators who educated my kids when we were in Florida. So she absolutely has a ton of experience.
And she's so young. She's so young.
Absolutely, and full of energy and such a blessed soul. We are very, very lucky to have Claudia, as part of the board. She's a tireless worker, an inspiration, and it has a ton of experience to share. So, for whether you're a parent, whether you are a children, a kid that's going to be in the symposium, whether you are a spiritist that is trying to, or a parent who's dealing with kids and you want to learn more, this will be again a unique opportunity, right? To be in touch with some of the most experienced workers in the spirits movement in this realm. Many spirit centers face the challenge of starting their work around youth education. We know that firsthand because we were blessed enough to be able to help start spirit centers in California, in Florida, now in Texas, and we know how hard it is. I have a utmost respect and admiration for the youth educators. It's it's such a difficult job, but such a fundamental job. When people ask me what are the most important services that you provide in the center, number one, no discussion, is the youth education, is the foundation of everything else we do. So unique opportunity to come to the symposium, to listen firsthand, to meet and to reinvigorate, our energy to continue, in this beautiful work, which is to educate our children in Spiritism.
Exactly. And Claudia and Eduardo, for this last part of our conversation in the countdown today, we are bringing a message from the book Living Spring by Emmanuel, as you know. And this chapter we've chosen not at random, but the spirits help us, is 90. It's titled Courageously. I'm going to read just a few sentences, and I'd like you to share a few comments before we say the final prayer. Emmanuel titles this chapter Courageously in the same line of thoughts that we think it fits perfectly for this courage to do the work for children and youth. As hard as it is, living in a nation that is basically Christian, but is leaving God aside, or God is nowhere, but hopefully in the churches and in the temples. But in their daily lives, children are godless. God is not in the schools anymore. It's not in the streets. It's not on TV anymore. They are living without God most part of the day, and maybe they may hear about it once a week if they go to religious service. So courage is the number one for sure to give us this push to do this work. Emmanuel quotes from Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 13. Be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, act courageously, be strong. And then Emmanuel explains, be on your guard in the daily struggle, stand firm in the faith when faced with a storm, act courageously in every difficult situation. Be strong in suffering in order to receive its lesson of light. And then he goes on and on. And at the end of this chapter, and forgive me for skipping these beautiful parts, but he says something that fits perfectly for life, especially for youth nowadays. Without moral resistance in the storm of purifying conflicts, even the noblest hearts falls apart. Even the noblest heart falls apart. Therefore, we cannot rest in our endeavor of spiritual growth. Of course, we will stumble many times, Of course, we will scratch by thorns along the way. Our situation will be regrettable, however, whenever we demand a soft bandage of undue consolation, thus halting our journey to the Almighty. Christians are not students that allow themselves undeserved rest, disciples of a Master who served whoever needed him until his final testimony on the cross. They must toil at sowing and harvesting the infinite good, being on their guard, helping and acting courageously. Claudia, would you like to share a few thoughts?
We kid within our department that the educators are the job that nobody wants.
Mm-hmm.
They rather do cleaning or cooking or being mediums or whatever else is there to do in the center, but they never want to be student educators. And most people use the excuse that they don't want to deal with children, the children are too honest, whatever. But I think today, and I go to a lot of centers across the US, is the job where I see that the Spiritist, and I'm not trying to diminish any other one, but because of the reticence and the criticism and the impression that some people still have that we just babysit children, so the misconception of what we do, and everything that englobes being an educator, that the guys, the girls, the team that takes care of that function are the brave people in the Spiritist centers today. And I'm not trying to pull nobody's chain with that, but it's you really have to study to be in class because those kids are coming ready and they ask you questions that will throw you off your game. So prepping for an adult lesson is one thing, but prepping for a kid lesson, it's another level of preparation. Executing the lesson successfully is 3 more levels of preparation because you have all these crudely honest audience where you go teach adults, you have 25 people in that class. In the end, everybody's going to tell you did a great job just because they don't want to teach. But with the kids, there's none of the class. This was the best day of my life in the same manner that they will tell you, I don't think I'm coming next week. This is boring. And when you put a lot of effort into it, it can catch up to you. So those guys that are teaching for 5, 6, 8, 10 years, they know it's a bravery army of soldiers. And I cannot stress enough that the more together we are in this group, the more we could eventually one day create a WhatsApp group for teachers that is a support group to help us through these moments of doubt and questioning that we go through while we are in our learning curves. It's so important because it's so easy to get discouraged because we're not used to listening to honesty.
Mhm.
We're used to listening to praise, to people that tell you you did a great job because of whatever reasons that they have. Some really like it, but some others think they're not capable of doing. So, of course, you did a great job because I'm not capable of doing that. But kids don't do that. Kids will tell you how it is, and and it's hard sometimes.
Yeah, because
It's
they
great.
feel it. It's about
Yeah,
feelings, right?
it's great sometimes, but it's also when it's hard, it's really hard as well.
Yeah.
I commend, I celebrate and I commend educators all the time. Julio could not have said it better. Every time he does a workshop in a Spiritist center, he brings different groups of workers, the mediums, the this, the that, the people from the kitchen, into this circle, and they applaud them and they celebrate them. But every time it's Spiritist educators, they always cry.
Yeah, but you know, Claudia, the beauty of it all is Jesus said, let the children come. It's also so good. I've also seen educators in our center, for example, majority of our practitioners, workers, they are Spiritist educators. We prioritize them. They take turns every week, and we see they prefer to be with the children
Yeah.
in so many ways than to be in the adult room. Not that they don't like the
No,
group,
no, that's not what I
but you
mean.
know, it's such a joy, right? To be with the kids. That's why you have been coming all along all these years, right? Though you are young, but you have been on this track for so long. And I agree with you. No wonder men are saying courage, courage and stand firm. And we're saying this also to parents because they're the ones who
Yeah.
do the daily bread with their children, and they need a lot of courage to say, come on, let's go to the center. You know, you didn't reincarnate for a vacation. You asked for this. I tell Virginia, she's 4, and I say, I'm not forcing you, but look at me in the eyes. Okay, soul to soul. You asked for this. That's why you're here. Focus. That's why you're here. Focus. Focus on the good. Do not waste your time
Don't
because you're going
waste
to
your
regret it. If you hear it from the get go, my parents did it to me, and I think it works.
It works.
So, right, Eduardo, tell us about this message for you as a parent and as a spiritist educator.
As you said so well, Vanessa, it works. We know it works. I cannot describe again how blessed we feel that we can count on Spiritism to help us through the very big challenge of educating kids. As I said before, I'm a big fan of all of the youth educators. They are the hardest workers, the most courageous workers that we have in the centers. I know sometimes it feels, as Claudia described, as an inglorious work, right? And but I don't think there's anything more rewarding to
no.
see a kid grow on a very solid foundation and to see the parents as well working together with the kids and come to us sometimes and thank the educators for everything that they are doing because they can see the difference. They can see how their kids are developing a unique point of view on life that helps them through their own struggles and it helps them understand the struggles of the other kids that they are seeing. And there are so many struggling around them, as you can see today, and they understand why. And oftentimes they can actually help them. So it's a work of courage. It's a work of love. It's a work of God, as you said in the beginning.
Yeah.
And again, great opportunity in the symposium to reinvigorate ourselves and
Yes,
right
yes.
and renew that courage that is so needed.
Bring it on, the symposium, friends. So, as we do in this countdown, we wrap up with a prayer for serenity for the day, for the preparation of these days, for the harmonization of everybody who is going to work in two realms, and for the accomplishment of this God's work on earth. And Claudia has done so much today, and she'll be back with us another day here with Leo Rodriguez, her husband. So I need to ask you, Eduardo, to please lead us in a prayer. Is that okay?
It's okay, of course.
All
Thank
right.
you.
We're gonna be with you, okay?
Okay. So I ask that all of us who are tuned into Kardec Radio right now, may we elevate our thoughts to Jesus Christ, our Master, and God, our beloved Father. We feel so thankful for the opportunity to be here talking about Jesus, talking about the teachings that the Consoler brought to us through Spiritism. We feel so blessed that we are part of this incredible movement that can bring so much light to our earth, and light is so needed during this phase of transformation. I ask that the good spirits may bless all of the workers that are going to be together doing this amazing work of love in the symposium. I ask for the blessings to Kardec Radio, to all of our guests here, to all of those who are listening to this program right now. May the light enter their homes, their hearts, and their minds. May we all feel the blessings and the caring of our mentors and good spirits, and so be it.
What a joy. Thank you, Eduardo. Thank you so much. Thank you also, Claudia, for being with us and for sharing so much. Okay?
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much, Vanessa.
Thank you,
Thanks for having
friends.
us.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing you soon in 6 days. So this is
Absolutely.
it, friends. 6 days to this joy. Joy to the world. The Lord has come. Yes, it's that Christmas feeling coming to town, to Washington, D.C., because it's the promised consoler. We're not alone. We're loved. We're cared for unconditionally. Come join the feelings. As Sunshine said yesterday, she was received so much love in her first symposium, and we did too. Come yourself as well. Bring your children. Bring your youth. You'll never regret it. Never heard anybody say, "I'll never come back again."
Oh,
No,
no,
That
never.
doesn't happen,
Doesn't
right,
happen.
doesn't
friends?
happen. No, it doesn't.
So come join us, and we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, for another day in our countdown for the 12th U.S. Spirit Symposium. Thank you, friends.
Thank
And
you.
until later,
Thank
bye
you.
bye.